Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rich Winter. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Vergent, and we're so happy you spent time today joining us for this webinar. We think it'll be very informative. We want to start off this presentation, kind of talking about the digital lending space and some of the vulnerabilities that are out there for lenders. Some housekeeping items that I want to cover before we begin. This whole webinar is being recorded. We have opened up the Q&A capability in the meeting, so if you have questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to click the Q&A button at the top of the window and submit that question. And if we have time at the bottom of the presentation, we'll try to answer those questions. Otherwise, we're going to present an email address at the end of the presentation. You could submit questions to that at your leisure after the meeting's over. Let's go ahead and talk about the agenda that we're going to cover today. So, OmniaVerify is a very powerful tool that we developed with DeepXL. Presenting today is Narv Hansen and Giovanni Laverty from our team, and they are going to go through some of the threats that are out there and make you aware of the rising threat of AI in creating fake documents. So we're going to talk about the rising threat. We're going to talk about the current state of fraud in lending and give you some hard data numbers that we know exist out there, how that might affect your business bottom line, and how traditional methods of trying to detect this information are failing today. Then we're going to introduce you to OmniaVerify Scan and many of the features that are available in the software. We'll talk about what it detects when documents are submitted, how it's better than other competing products, and what you can expect the ROI on your investment to be when you do add OmniaVerify to your software suite. Then Gio Laverty is actually going to do a full-on demonstration inside the LMS and kind of show you, OmniaVerify in action and show you how it works. So let's talk about our presenters. So coming all the way from Norway, it's 8 o'clock in Norway right now, so we appreciate Narv joining us. Narv is the co-founder of DeepXL, our partner in creating OmniaVerify. He has over 30 years experience in banking and finance. He's worked in Norway and in Mexico, and he's worked with very large fintech companies such as MasterCard and American Express, to name just a few. We're glad he's with us today. And next we have Gio Laverty. He's on our team. He's the Director of Product Utilization and Training. Many of you have probably already worked with Gio in the past, but he's kind of our go-to guy when it comes to explaining new products and working directly with customers. So he's going to do our demonstration today. And with that, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to hit the ground running. We have a lot to cover here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Narv. Narv, you ready?
I'm ready, and thank you so much for the introduction, Rich, and thank you all for participating in this event. It's an honor to be here as a Viking from Norway, yeah, I'm sitting by myself here in the office space, so I feel kind of lonely, but it's very nice to be here with you guys. I'm going to present, and please bear with me with my Norwegian accent. So I hope if there's any questions, you could just holler out. First, I want to say, first of all, I just want to say that after 30 plus years in the finance sector and working with all the banks here in Norway through, for example, the national payment scheme, I've seen and experienced that every new technology opens up amazing opportunities, but also new risks. And especially now, what's happening with generative AI, we've gained incredible speed and creativity, but at the same time, there's a lot of fraudsters out there. And today, for less than $10, anyone can actually create a fake passport or a pay stub or claim photos in just a minute. So what used to be complex with, Photoshop and everything, now it's super easy with the tools. So after COVID, businesses were rushing to go digital, but the fraudsters were already ahead of the game, and they're not just stealing identities anymore. They are creating completely new ones. So back in 2020, synthetic identities cost banks around $8 billion. And 3 years later, that number has jumped to more than 30 billion. And just last year, fraud exploded by 700%, fueled by generative AI. So on top of that, criminals are using bots to flood lenders with fake applications, overwhelming them with manual review teams. It becomes like the perfect storm. And remember, in the US, the consumer credit market is over $5 trillion, with 60% loans now being originated online. So the risk has never been greater. Um, Over the past 3 years, we analyzed real loan portfolios to understand the true scale of fraud. What we found was alarming, with an average of 6% of all the applications contained fake documents or identities. And when we break it down, we found out that synthetic IDs account for about 5%, while tampered documents are higher, they're about 6.6%. And the impact doesn't stop there. Every delay in catching fraud adds costs, slowing approvals, typing up staff, and in many cases, turning potential losses into unrecoverable ones. Well, portfolio losses. So not only do you lose money on the fraudulent loans themselves, those loans also drive up charge-offs, which can add up as much as 15% of your total portfolio losses. Now, 6% might not sound like much at the first glance, but let's put it into context. If you process around 200,000 applications a year with an average loan around $2,500, that tiny 6% suddenly becomes 30 million in risk exposure. So today's fraudsters use AI, generate pay stubs and IDs and synthetic identities at scale, and they overload the system with applications and overwhelm fraud teams, like I mentioned. And when a fake borrower slips through, it doesn't only create a financial loss, it also creates doubt. The regulators could start asking questions, and auditors flag compliance gaps, and obviously it could get out there as well for the customers, which would be fatal. And why traditional defense fail? Well, legacy rule-based tools can not keep pace with evolving fraud tactics. Manual reviews are too slow and expensive. Fraud is often caught weeks or months after disbursements when it's too late. And with AI, forgery has become faster and more realistic than ever before. Traditional defense are simply outpaced. So this is why we wanted to present today OmniaVerify and our connected intelligent platform with two core tools. The one I'm going to present is OmniaVerify Scan. It's an AI-driven document forensic that detects tampered IDs and documents in real time. And we also have in this package, OmniaVerify PEEP is an instant bank and ID verification connecting directly to borrower accounts. So together they provide lenders with a forensic level defense system, accurate, compliant, and a very fast solution. So I'll go on to OmniaVerify Scan. And these are the three most common fraud vectors we see in the lending. So you have the financial documents, you have the proof of address, and you have the ID documents. Fraudsters manipulate these with AI tools to look perfectly authentic. And because humans can't detect those edits, they slip through until we scan them. So we do see a lot of manipulated pay stubs, tax forms, utility bills, fake receipts, warranties, and so on. What makes OmniaVerify Scan different? Well, first of all, we've been training the model, so it's very accurate. Our system catch fraud with up to 98.9% precision. So that means lenders can trust the result, reduce the false positives, and approve good customer faster. Second, we go beyond what the human eye can see. We run, for example, the metadata forensic, things like timestamps, device fingerprints, geolocation. So if a pay stub says New York, but the file shows it was created on phone in Brazil, for example, last week, we will flag it obviously instantly. Third, transparency. We don't just say fraud detected. Our explainable AI provides a clear score and a human readable explanation so your team can see why something was flagged and make confident audit ready decision. Fourth, we call it the digital immune system. Just like your body adapts to new viruses, our model adapts to new fraud tactics. Every attempt makes the system stronger and better, so same trick won't work twice. And finally, the security. We never reuse customer data. We're built on privacy by design. And as you probably know, Europe is very strong on this. We already aligned with GDPR and CCPA standards, so compliance teams can rest at ease. Measurable return on investment for lenders. The value is definitely measurable. So fraud is hidden, and like you mentioned, approximately 6% of the applications. And catching it early protects lenders from tens of millions in annual exposure. At the same time, automation cuts manual reviews and speed up approvals, reducing a lot of cost and improving compliance. So the result, return on investment, has been up to 45x. So we have built, as part of that, return on investment calculator that we can actually send to you guys after this webinar, so you can test it out and see what you think could be the potential ROI for your business. So Rich can send that out to you guys. The future fraud prevention. Fraud isn't slowing down at all. In fact, 3 out of 4 businesses are seeing it rise, and it's not just volume. The tactics themselves evolve every single week. So that's why OmniaVerify is designed as a living defense system. Our adaptive AI evolves alongside the threat, giving lenders the support so that their defense won't fall behind. And why it matters for you? The impact is clear. I think you will strengthen compliance and fraud defense, and you will protect financial performance, and it will give borrowers a faster, more seamless experience. And maybe most importantly, you will gain the confidence to scale on the digital lending safely. Fraud has become one of the biggest risks facing lenders today, but this solution, OmniaVerify, will give you the tool to fight back with confidence and speed and measurable return on investment. So that's basically what I wanted to present today. It went kind of fast, so I'm sorry if I talked too fast. And with that, I want to hand it over to Gio, who will show you exactly how it works inside the Vergent platform. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Narv. Excellent presentation, sir.
Thank you.
My component to this is to show you a little bit about the entry points and how it actually works within the system. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to take a use case where the customer has already applied online, and now the final component is to upload documents which can be configured based on your loan model and your company needs as to which documents are required. So within their customer portal, they can click this upload documents. And I'll remind you that if I was on a cell phone, I would be able to invoke my camera app or be able to upload files as needed within this user interface. But in this case, the customer is going to see bank statement and they're going to upload a given bank statement, right? So they have an opportunity to upload multiple documents. We're going to ask for a pay stub as well. So the customer is going to add a pay stub. We're going to ask for a bill for a verification of address, the driver's license, standard ID, and then a copy of the Social Security card that would be requested, right? So the customer has an opportunity to upload those documents and then execute the upload on those files. Now, when they're there, I'll remind you that as our customer journey begins, there's an opportunity for things such as QR codes to drive the customer to the application. They'll be presented with a self-service customer application portal with an ability to apply. And then they go through several steps filling out information, whether they're a new customer or a returning customer. But once all of that is complete and we've uploaded the documents, as I showed on the previous page, that's where the real magic happens. So as Narv has described, the system has now been connected with OmniaVerify, so we can do things like check those documents for alterations, forensic scan of the IDs, just as the bullet points here outline. And we can also expect to see a fraud score returned, as well as the reasoning, as Narv mentioned, the human readable component to let us know that there has been some sort of fraudulent activity. So then, as we come back to the Vergent LMS, we're going to drive directly to our workflow. And we're going to open our workflow. And just as a simple reminder here, we have all of our customer information. So if we need to verify elements of any of the items provided, we do have this nice user interface where we can see things like addresses, phone numbers, and bank accounts, things of that nature. The real magic here is when we look at the workflow itself, we can now see that we have any documents that maybe have been previously provided, but we're more interested in what was currently provided. So as you can see right away, we have a dial that's telling us that this is fraudulently confirmed. Well, why is it fraudulently confirmed? You can click on the hyperlink, and this is where you get the readable information. So, it's telling you a number of reasons as to why this particular document is fraudulent. So whether you're doing some level of auto approve or some level of manual approve, you have some information as to what your next course of action can be. Further, we have some that are authentic, right? So we have an authentic score, and we also see that there's no signs of tampering detected within the document itself. So whether this came in via the customer portal, there's also the ability to select the files and upload those. But as we continue down here, we also see that there's more confirmation on the fraudulent score and as to why. So this was found online as a for instance for this ID that was provided. And so that's a little bit of how our OmniaVerify can assist you with your organizational needs and to spot fraud in a much more streamlined manner. So with that, I will hand it back to Rich.
Okay, thanks guys. That's really great. I'm going to go ahead and jump into pricing and share that with you really quick. So let's present that. So if we jump back in to the slides here, and let me go ahead and get to that slide really quickly. Okay, there we go. Now, so OmniaVerify Scan and OmniaVerify Peep both have pricing schemes attached to them. The OmniaVerify Scan cost metric is very simple to understand. There's simply a one-time setup fee with that of $4.95, and then we sell credit bundles that handle transactional costs associated with the types of scans your business might need. And with every business being a little bit different, some of you may need to scan driver's licenses, you may need to parse data, you may need to review documents every time. So we've broken it out in such a way that it can be structured to fit exactly the kind of business needs you might have. At the end of the presentation, we'll send out a longer pricing document that has all of the details that you might need for that to make an informed decision. And that way you can reach out to us. We also welcome one-on-one meetings if you have any kind of questions as you receive these documents. We're glad to meet with you. We want to meet with you. Narv can even go through in detail scenarios that you may face in your own business. And we want to work with you on that. Jumping into questions, I saw that a question popped up from Jen Chen. And Narv, I think this would be a good one for you to field. She says, with the metadata and geolocations, if a client is using a VPN, would that flag them thinking they're elsewhere? So how does this work with VPN setups?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And that's definitely a question for our CTO. I'm not the technical guy, but we definitely have different ways of finding the ways from metadata or from other sources that we're using, because we have many different models that we're actually using on top of each other in order to detect any kind of tampering with the documents or with the idea. So metadata is just one of them. But I can definitely come back to you on the VPN and how that could work from our CTO guide. So I will definitely send a response to that on when we send things back to the customers.
That sounds great. I kind of had a softball question for you, Narv. I know you guys are working on features for future release in this system, and one of those is heat mapping. That's not currently in our setup now, but I know you guys have developed the technology and it'll be introduced. Could you tell us a little bit about that as well, and any other future features that you're going to add?
Yeah, we're fortunate to work very close with you guys. So one of the features is definitely heat maps, where you can actually see on the items of the, for example, on the ID exactly where it's been tampered with, whether it's the photo or it's on the text side or everything like that, and it will explain in detail, as I mentioned as well, why. But you can see very clearly where it's been tampered. And I think especially for insurance companies or any a company that ends up with a case where they have to go in court, this is a very good way to verify exactly in detail what's going on. Apart from that, we've been working also on parsing the information. So if you put the information that we scan from, for example, the driver's license, we can parse the data and abstract everything from the driver's license and use that into the application, make a more simplified process for the customer, and also for you guys to use that data the way you guys want to use that data. So that's the other part of what we're doing. The third element we're working on now is also verifying with a selfie or video, so we can detect that it's actually the same person as they are sending the ID and the picture. You can verify that it's actually the real person through a selfie or through a video. So that's another thing that will come not too long.
Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, it looks like another question's come through. Alicia Brown says, in Vergent, is the scoring a numerical value that the lender has to determine the risk, or is it a yes, no on fraud? I saw a confirmed response for the example. So yeah, it is a sliding scale, correct? From 0 to 100. And there are lots of various detection points that are used to determine that score, right?
Exactly. It's just it's set up in a very easy way. From green going through, yellow, really looking into it, whether you want to see if you need some more information from the client, and then red, where it's actually detected that it's definitely a fraudulent document. So obviously, for each company, you guys can define how you want to do the process yourself. If you say yellow, could still be okay for you, you're willing to take that risk, that's possible. But that's the way we set it up, and it all up to you how you want to handle the risk. So that's the way we're doing it.
Yeah, and just to pile on to what Narv just said, obviously in a workflow automation, you can make this a completely automated process if you wish to. But in the case where you have someone submit a document, it gets scored, it scores yellow, then at that point, we can set it up so an agent jumps in to look at that document and evaluate with human eyes whether they think it's actual fraud based on the information they've been presented. In some cases, somebody may take kind of a blurry photograph, something's out of focus, you're relying on their own device to, image those elements that you're requiring. And oftentimes they'll upload a document that'll get flagged, but it's not fraud, it's just a bad photograph of the document. In those cases, that's when your agent can take over. They can request, could you resubmit that to us? We don't think it's fraud, but it's not passing our standard at this point. Could you talk any about that, Narv, and some examples like that?
Well, I definitely think that that part is super interesting to see how we can make that flow as automatic as possible and make it seamless for the customer as well. So there's no frustration. If they, for example, detect that is blurry, the document they're sending in, there could definitely be a, automatic reply through, for example, the SMS solution that you guys have, where they say, please upload a new document. It was not, clear what you were sending, so those kind of things, I think is definitely, opportunities to improve the seamless experience with the customers.
Yeah. And the whole point of using technologies like OmniaVerify is to take the work off of your own agents. We're trying to make it so the customer can sort of self-service, throughout the process, provide the documents and not take up a bunch of your agent's time. They can do this independently any time of the day or night. They can, photograph their IDs, scan them in, whatever the case may be, and it's not consuming the time of agents unnecessarily. So, this technology allows you to do that. And then on top of that, the forensic examination that it does with the documents goes beyond what a human being can actually detect. Between the metadata, I mean, it goes down to a pixel level of finding the fraud, finding doctored documents, and that's something you're not going to be able to do with your human eyes. And so, the advent of AI has sort of made it necessary to fight it with additional AI. So we hope that you'll consider this product. We think it's a fantastic product. The strength of it is just in seeing it at work. So if you want a live demo of this, you want to spend more time asking geo questions or NARV, we certainly welcome that. We think that's where the impressive side of this comes in, is just seeing it in action. So anyway, we appreciate your time. We're kind of coming to the end of the 30-minute window we allocated for this. I am going to send out a number of documents, including the pitch deck and a link to the recording. If you have any follow-up questions, we're happy to answer those. Just send those to marketing@vergentlms.com, and I'll direct those to the correct person, and we'll get you an answer. So thank you all so much for taking time to watch this webinar. We hope it's been informative. You've learned a few things, and we hope you'll consider adding OmniaVerify for your business. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you so much. Pleasure. Bye-bye.